Yeah, we got some.
You
We got Washington.
You're
to
still
hike.
hiking, aren't you? Like,
Yeah.
good grief.
Holy cow.
So yeah, we rolled back effortlessly, 10 deep in a cargo van, no problem. Had all our crap tied up in the back. And we're like, okay, we'll get up early tomorrow, get on trail, get back on trail, right?
But there's just something hard about being in Cascade Locks. It's difficult to get back out of there. And especially, I think it's because the campsite at the port of Cascade Locks, it's very cheap and really convenient to camp at, is right next to the train tracks. How close to the train tracks? I don't know, 15, 20 feet. And
across the road. Like,
across the road.
Yeah.
Like,
track, road, camp.
And it's well trafficked. I will say that.
Ooh.
So at least 4-5 times a night, you're hearing a giant freight train cruising through if you don't got your protection in.
So yeah, I remember it was getting kind of late afternoon-ish, and we're like, do we want an 8th night in Cascade Locks? We're like, no.
No, we gotta go.
No, we gotta cross Bridge of the Gods.
It's time to touch Washington with our hiking feet.
Yes. So Bridge of the Gods, little side story, is that significant to anything?
Well, you know, a lot of people, if you know the PCT or don't, it's famous in this movie Wild, and it's actually where in Wild she finishes her journey.
Nice.
And the truth of it is, before I started the Pacific Crest Trail, I thought that was the end of the trail. I hadn't done any research, so I just thought that was going to be the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting to be seeing it prior to being done with it, having not read the book and only watched the movie. But
all you gotta do is not look down. That's it.
It's Thunder Island, where we camped for a few days and had trail days. Now we're on Bridge of the Gods.
off we go, across Bridge of the Gods and into Washington. 506.1 miles to go to Canada.
Nice.
Yeah.
The end is in sight, which
We're making
is
moves.
bittersweet. Like, you want to get there, but you just want to get there before the snow flies, really.
Yeah, and you know, we start hiking up. We've exited Mount Hood National Forest.
BC and Colin's first day back on trail, and it's 9:55. Just leaving camp. Something's got the trail all tore up. Just finally get into the Gifford Pinchot National Forest, which, you know, they're practicing logging there. So there's some cleared cuts, there's some burn areas, there's some dry exposed areas. Beautiful hood in the background, 60 miles away, trail miles, and she's still there. So the first couple of miles aren't the best, but
You're up the road, dude.
it doesn't even matter because we're in Washington and the best is yet to come. Catching some rays. Nice spot right by the creek.
So up into the Table Mountain Wilderness, we encounter a few slugs taking their time.
Oh, that was cool. These are jumbos.
Jumbo fatties.
This is slug life.
And honestly, we're starting to see some colors change.
Well, the old huckleberries are starting to change color already.
And we're feeling maybe like the cold is kind of coming. We're feeling like a little kind of nip at our heels that we need to keep it moving.
It is September, right? Or it's almost September? Or
Yeah, it's September.
Pretty much September.
Mm-hmm. It's the start of September.
And we're heading north, of course, and we see some people coming our way, and like, they look familiar. They get closer. Sure enough, it's Rental and Unicorn. These these folks we've seen ever since Mile Hondo. Way back in the day.
Way back.
And they've had a unique journey. I'm sure you've been following along with their YouTube channel. Check that out. But they tagged the border, then they didn't, then they did, and then they didn't, and then they did. And then they came back going Saubo.
Yeah,
we
so they're
saw them. It was
Sauboing
awesome to
Washington,
run
yeah.
into them again.
Yeah, it's really fun seeing them. Sometimes you just don't know if you're ever going to see people again, and then you run into them again, and holy cow, like what a great thing that is. So we got to catch up with them for a little bit on the trail, and we kept it moving. And
Good old Washington. And just don't look down. Oofta.
we ran into our first elk hunter. It was opening weekend for bow hunting of elk in that area. And yeah, the guy couldn't have been nicer. He's like, "Oh, can I get you anything? Can I give you anything? I'm on my way out." And yeah, actually, all the hunters that we ran into out there were really kind. And moment for the hunters.
Way to go, hunters.
The Tale of Two Worlds. Really enunciated there. Ach, Vavit. You don't see too many of these old school PCTS emblem placards. We got one here in Washington. Won't tell you where exactly though.
Yeah, so anyway, we entered into Indian Heaven Wilderness, and we started seeing these signs for mushroom picking. Like, Washington is full of mushrooms. It's crazy.
Especially in September.
Every kind of mushroom you can think of. I mean, stuff I've never seen before. I mean, they're everywhere. And apparently it's so popular that you need a free permit to even be picking mushrooms out there. But it's very neat going through those wildernesses, seeing the different things coming out of the trees, coming out of the bark, coming out of the ground. And it was like seeing the wildflowers in the desert during spring. Like, it was like that, only with mushrooms.
This is Washington. A lot of this so far. A couple of nice views of Hood and Adams, but a lot of nice shade too.
And Washington definitely got better as you kept going through it. Finally seeing a little more old growth, and like he had mentioned, the colors, so everything, now you're feeling like you're in the woods. This is Washington here.
Now that's a tree. Oh. Yeah. Thing just goes and goes. And goes. Look at that character in that thing.
And it was a treat. So right before we're about to get our next resupply, really popular day area is like Bear Lake. We camped there, and before that's Blue Lake. Well, most people camp there, but all these lakes all of a sudden showing up, really sweet campsites.
Here's a thru-hiker in their natural habitat, filtering water, getting ready for a cold, cold morning.
And something that we hadn't seen in a long time, 100-mile mark, the 2,200-mile mark.
2,200, which has significance. It's pretty much the length of the AT if you do the approach trail.
Here we go. 22 Hondo, baby. Yeah.
And we had finally made 2,200 fake miles because we skipped a little. So now 2,200 don't mean squat.
But it's still fun to see, and we hadn't seen it in a while because we hadn't hiked in a while. So it was nice getting that milestone, crossing it on our way to Trout Lake, which we didn't really even plan on camping at or going into Trout Lake, which is, I don't know, 20 miles or something off of.
It's like a half-hour freaking ride.
A half-hour ride, but we had heard good things. We had heard that it's a really hiker-friendly town, and boy, they weren't wrong. It was a really hiker-friendly town. Like, at the trailhead, you saw a list of people that would come drive 30 minutes to come pick you up and bring you into town. And this is a very small town. This isn't like some metropolitan area where there's a lot of people that love hiking or whatever.
Right. 0 stoplights.
Right.
It's a small town.
Yeah, really small town, and it was super hiker friendly. And the grocery store is amazing. The resupply there was incredible. It had all the things that it was clearly set up for hikers.
Yeah, food truck and free boxes and cheap free camping.
And in the back of the store, they had washer and dryer set up so you can do your laundry at the grocery store.
There's a shower in this community park.
They had a food truck. They had a lot of food options. They had homegrown elk burgers, huckleberry shakes. They had what you needed to get. And then one of the highlights was having a donation-based kind of free place to stay.
Yeah, Camp Jonah.
Very unique.
All right, narrate, my man. Here we are, Trout Lake, and good riddance to bad company. Count's letting off his Deep Woods off bottle. It's pretty heavy, didn't get used that much, and we're gonna put it in the hiker box. Hike, yeah. And what that means is, here comes the mosquitoes. There's a lot of good stuff in here, including bug spray.
Yeah, it's a church, and they had some bunk beds. Are they still bunk beds if they're 3 tall?
A triple-decker bunk bed. Put it in the comments. What is that even called? A Trump bed? No,
But
trunk bed?
they took care of us. They took a hiker box. They had loaner vans and cars you could take out if you needed.
Courtesy vehicles to get around the area. Like, no questions asked. Keys just laying out, take the car. Like,
Incredible.
you know, wild, you know?
I liked that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed my experience there. I could have stayed a week, easy.
And we actually really lucked out. We were going to stay, you know, just in a park or something, and we lucked out finding that place because that place actually wasn't supposed to be open. They were supposed to have a big Boy Scout festival there, and they didn't have it. I think it was because of COVID.
I think it's COVID.
Don't quote me on that, but I mean, they have climbing walls. They have all the stuff that you would want for like a bunch of kids to come to like a little camp or whatever. But it's a big building, beautiful place. And yeah, they couldn't have been nicer. But yeah, also the rides and everything start stopping at you know, about September 8th, I think. And we were there probably about September 5th. So we only were there a couple days before it would have been very difficult to get into town, get out of town, have places to stay.
Yeah, very low traffic.
So again, we're feeling a little nibble at our heels, like, hey, the season's ending. It's time to get hiking, boys. It's been a while.
Lace up them boots. Let's go.
Time to go. So
Yeah,
yeah,
speaking of time to go,
we'll catch you on the next episode. You try.
we'll catch
Get
you on the next episode.
I've only seen a handful of these puppies, the old schools. What a treat. Dang it. Why in every video? Alright.
Should we get some more beers first?
Let's see it finish throwing up, bud.
Alright, sure. Just getting into Gifford
Pinchot.
Pinchot.
Pinchot. Oh, there's a B. Uh-oh. Oh, fuck. Get out of here.
What do you want to talk about in the other video?
Try to stop.
To where?